When I was 21, I started drinking every day, and it just escalated from there. And it got really serious. I drank a lot, 4 liters of vodka every day, and I gained a lot of weight. And eventually I got paralyzed, and I was placed in a coma, and I had multi-organ failure and spent 2 months in a coma, 4.5 months at the hospital. And I was really big by then. I was 165 kilos because of the alcohol.
The woman you're looking at in these photos is Mailinn. At just 28 years old, she was drinking up to 4 liters of vodka a day. Her body was shutting down. She was vomiting blood daily, and doctors didn't think she would survive. She never pictured herself struggling with alcohol. And this is Mailinn's story on the Sober Motivation Podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Sober Motivation Podcast. Today we've got Mailinn with us. Mailinn, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Great to connect with you again. Thanks for being willing to jump on and share your story with us.
My pleasure. I've missed this.
Yeah. So what was it like for you growing up?
I had a nice upbringing. I have 2 brothers, and I grew up with 2 parents. They are divorced now, though. At the countryside in Norway, an hour outside of Bergen, Norway's second largest city. We did started to drink kind of early, though. I was like 12 when I had my first sip of, I don't know what to call it, like a vodka, but homemade. And from there, it was a lot of partying in my teenage years, but it wasn't really a problem until the age of 18, I guess. I started to worry about my own drinking. Start to write in my diary that I was kind of like, you're drinking too much and you should have a sober weekend or at least a sober week. Then it kind of escalated when we graduated from high school. We had this in Norway. We become Russ. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's basically like 17 days with partying and drinking in these outfits to celebrate us graduating. So it went downhill from there. And then when I was 20, I got really concerned. And when I was 21, I started drinking every day. And it just escalated from there. And it got really serious. I drank a lot, 4 liters of vodka every day, or 36, like half a liters of beers. And I gained a lot of weight. And eventually I got paralyzed with GBS, Guillain-Barré syndrome. And I was placed in a coma, and I had multi-organ failure and spent 2 months in a coma, 4.5 months at the hospital. And I was really big by then. I was 165 kilos because of the alcohol. I drank like 7,000 calories a day. And after 4.5 months, I started my new life. No one thought I was going to survive this. So I really got my second chance, and I couldn't waste it. But it was really confusing because I woke up and there was this coronavirus, and it was named after a beer, and I didn't understand that it was real because I hallucinated. It took me actually 4 months to realize that this was actually happening, and then I got to see my loved ones again month 4. So it was very, very lonely time at the hospital. So I was very confused.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. Yeah. To wake up, to the world and everything that was going on. I just want to go back a little bit to the progression that happened, right? So you start drinking, you said at 12, kind of nothing out of the ordinary. Like it seems like it seems like a lot of people too in the parks or whatever. All my friends from, Europe or whatever, they're like, yeah, we started drinking at the parks and stuff, early on. But what did that look like for you? Because then you get to liters and liters of vodka.
Yeah.
But that probably wasn't the plan initially, right?
No, not at all. We had a lot of substance use in my family, and I was like, I'm never going to have that kind of life. And I didn't understand it really growing up that I had no idea actually. But so no, it was never the plan. And I always thought that I heard from a bunch of people that I was too young to be an alcoholic. I was 19 and I was a woman. So every like alcoholic, you had to be like a man and you have to be 50 years old. So no one really thought I had a problem or that my drinking was out of the ordinary until it escalated in 2013. By then, I had already been concerned about my drinking for about 2-3 years, but it did escalate in 2013. And no, it was never the plan. I just I partied a lot, and then it was the weekends were all I could think about. And eventually I started, after my job or my studies, I would buy just a few beers for the evening, and but I didn't really think it was anything out of the ordinary until it was kind of all I could think about was like the weekend, and I would never do anything else. I had to go to a party or to a pub or like movie nights, sober movie nights with my friends. It never happened anymore. I was just focused on partying really, and so it just progressed kind of from there. And in 2013, I just noticed that this was every day now, and I went out a lot because I didn't want to alarm my family or friends. I didn't want them to know how much I was drinking. So I kind of stopped drinking with them. I just said like I was going to visit a friend or whatever, and I would actually go out on a town alone or with like new friends I just met, because we live an hour away from the big city. So I could kind of hide there. And I went to Korea in June 2013 with a friend, and it kind of escalated because it wasn't my normal routine, and I had to, and everything is cheaper in other countries and than in Norway. Vodka didn't cost anything. When I came home from there, I was there for a month, and then my family and friends all noticed that my face had been like swollen. So then they started to worry about me.
Yeah.
And
What do you credit it to, the ramp up? I mean, was there something going on? I mean, you work in the space now and probably hear a lot about people going through trauma or this happened or a way to regulate our nervous system or, so many things for so many people. Do you put a finger on anything for yourself specifically?
Yes, it was numbing for me. I had a lot of thoughts, anxiety, and things from my childhood, and a lot of stress about the future, and I didn't feel good enough. So I noticed when I was out partying, I didn't think about those. I didn't think about the future. I felt good. I had no anxiety, and I just used it as medication, I guess, to just numb every feeling. I didn't want to feel anything, and I had lost a lot of family members, and I just wanted to numb all the feelings. I didn't want to think about the future, the past, anything. I just wanted to be happy, ironically. So yeah, it was numbing for me.
Yeah. When you come back from your trip there and your family starts to mention something, how do you respond to that in the early days?
I got angry. I didn't like it at all. So my brothers and my mother had this meeting about me, and I was pissed off. I didn't want any involvement, but I knew that I had a problem. I just didn't want them to bother me about it. So I promised, I would stop drinking or stop drinking that much. And this was in the summer 2013. And then I had an operation in September. I had my tonsils taken out, and I had the surgery. I started bleeding like 2 weeks after the surgery, and I had to have another surgery. And so I stayed actually sober for a month and a half. So of course, my brain was all, oh, you're not an alcoholic. Look, you can stay sober. You have misdiagnosed yourself. So I started to drink again. And that moment, I thought about every day for the next 7 years, because then I could stop, but I chose to start again because I didn't think that I had any problem, because I could stop. I wish I had stopped for good back then, but not anymore though, because I wouldn't be where I am today if it hadn't been for my 20s. So, but I thought about that moment for a lot the next 7 years.
Yeah.
Because after that moment, I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Then it just escalated.
I hear a lot of people talk about sort of that maybe confusing place. Like, do I qualify for being an alcoholic, having a substance use disorder, having a problem with alcohol because I only drink on the weekends, or I only drink this way, or it's only that way. It's not like what they show in the movies. It's not this, it's not that. And, the truth is, like, the only thing that matters is how it's affecting us, on an individual basis. It doesn't have to look like Joe down the street or Sally over here. How is it impacting our life, and, how do we feel about it? But I feel like that's a confusing spot to some people find themselves. And it sounded like you did as well, one way or another, because you're able to stop sometimes. But then after this, things really take off. How do you land on the vodka?
Sometimes I drank beer and sometimes vodka, but vodka was easiest because I couldn't carry around like 36 beers wherever I went. So a bottle of vodka was easier to carry around without people, noticing. It was different with the vodka. For the last 4 years, I drank a lot of vodka, like 4 liters of vodka, and I got sick, not drunk. I didn't get drunk anymore, but I got really sick, like in my esophagus, and I was nauseous all the time. And so personally, beer was better because I had like this, I was more stable, or but it was easier to get the vodka down because it had a higher percentage, so I didn't have to drink as much. Because in the last 4 years of my alcoholism, when I woke up, I had to drink at least 12 beers, like big beers, to get the shakings to stop and to get my head working normally. And of course, it was easier if I had a vodka bottle because it would make the job done quicker. But I did feel worse on vodka. Like my best friend, she said, she noticed in my eyes when I drank vodka, not in my personality, it didn't change. She just noticed in my eyes when I had these vodka periods, because I was sicker then. So I didn't really.
The beer.
Yeah, because there was more like I couldn't drink as much as fast, so I was more stable on it. And I was very nauseous all the time. For the last 4 years, I threw up every single day. For the last year, I threw up, it was just blood, only blood, because my esophagus it suffered. So, but it was, and it was very expensive. It's already very expensive in Norway. And it was, a lot of money.
What else is kind of going on in your life throughout this period? Like, is that what you're doing? Is just drinking?
Yes, every single second of every single day. I didn't sleep much because I started shaking very fast. When I got under 3 in blood alcohol level, I started shaking. But my friends and family, they were always there, and we did things like I did go to restaurants with them and like family gatherings, and I just always had to bring the alcohol, and they adjusted. They knew that if we were going to a restaurant, we couldn't go to like McDonald's because they didn't serve beer. So we had to go to restaurants where they served alcohol, and they knew that I just came with 2 bags of beer or vodka, but they never stopped inviting me. They always invite me to weddings and confirmations and baptisms and everything. So I wouldn't be here without them and their support. I have the same people in my life now that I had then. They've been with me all the way since I was born.
Wow. What do you credit that to? Like not burning those bridges? Because I know in a lot of people's stories, people around them are kind of like, hey, you gotta, eventually you gotta shape up a little bit. How did that dynamic work to where they still supported you in those ways?
They've said themselves to, they've been with me in newspapers, and the journalists have asked them the exact same question. And it's because I was never violent. I didn't steal from them, from stores and stuff, but never from them. And I was never violent. I didn't change my personality. I just, like they said, I was the same person, just like a Timu version. My eyes were dead, but I was still there for them when I'm like the shrink in my friend group, and when they had their issues, I was still there for them. They could always call me. I would support them, whatever they were going through, and I was never like angry or at them or violent or whatever. So they said that we wouldn't, cut you out of our lives if you had cancer. So why on earth should we cut you off when you're clearly sick? This is clearly something that you don't want. Why on earth should we remove you from our lives? So I'm very grateful, though.
Yeah. No, that's incredible. Have they shared with you how difficult this stretch of life was for them? You mentioned like them doing interviews and stuff with you as well.
Yeah, yes, they have. Of course, they were very concerned, especially when, you saw me getting sicker and sicker and sicker and bigger, and I couldn't do much because I had absolutely no energy. And for the last 4 years, I stopped brushing my hair. So it's just like in knots. They had to shave it off at the hospital. And they were, of course, very concerned, but it was nothing they could do other than be there for me. When I was placed in a coma, my mother called my best friend and told her. And the first thing she thought, she was just like, okay, at least now we know that she is not drinking. That was her first thought. And of course, they knew that I probably would die, but you can't really prepare for something like that. But of course, it wasn't like a massive shock. They knew, we all knew that I was dying in 2019. And I had every October, I had this appointment it was a doctor specialized in liver diseases. So he checked my liver every October. And in October 2019, he said to me that you know this, but we're not going to see each other next year. And of course, I knew he was right. I could feel that I was dying. I knew and they knew, and we just tried to make the best of it. I started to write these letters to my family and friends for them to find when I died and who my belongings should go to. And yeah, so it's really weird to look back at now when I'm this healthy. But it was just, it was what it was. Very, very sad, though. Very depressing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that, too. I don't think anybody, maybe naively enough, but I don't think anybody starts out drinking understanding where it could potentially go. It's kind of a lot of us start out, fit in, connect with other people, let loose a little bit, maybe in our younger days and then, things progress. And I've heard a lot of stories, not exactly like yours, but a lot of ones where it just got to a place where people never thought possible. What are you thinking? Like, are you surprised at all to where this has taken you, or just you kind of knew where it was going?
I'm very surprised. One side of my family had struggled a lot with substance use, and all my life I was like, okay, I'm never gonna have like a substance use problem. And when I look back at it now, it's just how much of it, how stupid were you? Like, why did you think like that it couldn't affect you? Like, what made me so special that I was like immune or something? And I do like. I started drinking every day from 2013, but the warning signs were there from 2010, and they are so like big warning signs that I just ignored. And it's really weird to look back on because no, I did not think that I would ever have a substance use problem at all. So it kind of snuck up.
Yeah, I think that's a relatable story for many, even people who might sort of be in earlier on the spectrum of drinking, right? Like they're like, okay, maybe there's a problem. I know that this isn't helping me. This isn't what I want to be doing. But I don't think at that point in time, we can really connect the dots, what this could potentially grow into. Heading back there to 2010, right? Because I don't know. I'm only guessing here. There's going to be a few people listening to the show that, all the tires haven't fallen off yet, but there's red flags in their life. Why was it that you ignored that? Like, what was that process like to kind of push it aside and say, hey, I noticed there's big red flags, but maybe I'll do something about it later, or maybe I'll figure this out. Like, walk me through that a little bit.
I had a lot of excuses every time I did worry or did think that maybe I should not drink this weekend. Then I was like, no, what are you talking about? I mean, you're so young, you're a woman, and everyone else is, drinking. So it's nothing special. So stop worrying. All these excuses. I thought I was overreacting, actually, to yeah, I just made a lot of excuses to why I should keep drinking. And looking back, as I said, that is just really weird. But I was young. I was very young. I was 18 because my birthday is in September. So I was... no, I don't have an answer. I just made a lot of excuses, which I wouldn't do today. But... I know better now. Yeah.
Which I think is common too. I think that's common, especially for being 18.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this can't be a problem. I think the world does. I don't know about in Norway there. I'm guessing, but it seems like around here they do a really good job with the marketing, and they really makes you feel like you're going to miss out on something if you're not drinking. Every movie, every song, every billboard, every commercial, there can be that subconscious maybe belief that if we're not drinking, like we're not cool, we're not going to be doing this. What are we going to do at the wedding or the birthday party? Like we're just going to be outcast,
Absolutely. And here we're not allowed to have alcohol or cigarettes in our commercials. There are not any commercials about alcohol because it's not allowed. It's a conservative country and we're not allowed to buy alcohol like 24/7. We can buy until like 8 p.m. or 6 p.m. on Saturdays, and it's all closed on Sundays. So that was a major panic when I was alcoholic and I drank. Well, I'm still an alcoholic, but when I was drinking and just had to buy all of this beer, so I could live through Sundays. But drinking culture is ridiculous. It's everywhere, as you say, and it's like encouraged. It's not why are you drinking? It's why are you not drinking? It's reversed. It should be the other way around. No one is saying like, why are you not snorting this Coke with us? It's just so normalized. So it's expected. And that is very sad. We have made progress, I would say, because we have, it's kind of difficult to explain, but we can sell beer and ciders and stuff at supermarkets, but vodka and like the hard liquor, we have like this special place you can buy. And we have a lot more mocktails now and non-alcoholic like red, white wines, and a lot more of them. And the first thing you see now when you go to this Vinmonopolet, this place that sells vodka, it's the non-alcoholic beverages. So that's improvement. Yeah. So it's positive progress, though.
Yeah, giving options at least for people still can go out and drink something other than water is, is a nice
water,
feeling.
Coffee,
Yeah, that's the options are good. I'm thinking take us back to sort of, the end of your drinking days, what those months and in weeks were like leading up to it. Unpack that a little bit for us, because I know a lot of stuff happened.
Yes, a lot of stuff did happen. It was horrible. I was in literal hell. I just vomited blood every day, and I didn't had the energy to do anything. I didn't brush my hair. I didn't do anything. Just walking to the toilet, I could cry because I had to get up from the couch. And the Christmas 2019 was just horrible. And then at the January start of 2020, I noticed that my legs were getting weaker, but not as weak. I mean, I didn't think much of it because, my whole body was dying. So I didn't. And then we get to the start of March, then my legs are really, really weak. They can collapse when I just walk. When I was just walking to the bathroom, they could just collapse. And I was just thinking, like, this is a weird way to die, I thought I was, gonna die in my sleep, not like this slow kind of dying process. And then eventually I did go to the doctor because I thought this was really strange. So they sent me to the hospital, and I didn't want to be there because they wouldn't allow me to drink there. So I left against medical advice, and then I just got more and more paralyzed. I couldn't stand at one point, like the end of February, my legs were barely working. And these home nurses, they couldn't help me go to the toilet or anything because I was so big. And I was sent to the hospital, and I left the hospital like several times during this period. And I got a wheelchair, and everyone was like, hello, you have to get committed. You're like getting paralyzed. And I was like, nah, I didn't. I would rather die like with some dignity at home than the treatment I got at the hospital, because they were they just treated me like trash. So I just sat at home. I even went to the bathroom in a litter box instead of going to the hospital because I wanted to die with some dignity at home. But then I was stuck on the toilet one time, and this was like my lowest point ever. It was the home nurses tried to help me, but of course, I was huge, so they couldn't do anything. So they called for the fire department to help me get up from the toilet. And there was like 5 people tried to help me get up from the toilet with this huge like fire truck on the outside, and the neighbors, and it was just that was like my lowest point ever. And they brought me to the hospital actually, and then went back home, and then I collapsed and was sent back to the hospital. And then the doctor who was there at the time, he said, you just have to stay here. You have to promise me you have to stay here. You can drink whatever you want. No one here is going to take away your alcohol, but you have to stay here because if you leave now, you will die. So I stayed, and they put me in a coma that morning. So wow. He saved my life.
Wow.
By saying that I could, drink at the hospital.
Yeah. Did you know that you were going to go like into the coma and not be drinking anymore? Like that's something they tell you, or how does that work?
Yeah, they did tell me. They did. I was coughing a lot. I couldn't speak. I was just coughing, and my body. I was so tired, and I didn't have the energy to cough. But yet, my body just coughed and coughed and coughed, and I couldn't talk. So I actually begged them to put me under when they told me that there was kind of like a last resort that they didn't think was gonna work because I was so sick, and I had percentage lung capacity. So they were like, this is probably not gonna work because all of your organs are shutting down, but this is our last resort to like try and save your life. And I was just, okay, just put me, I cannot do this anymore. Just finish me off. Like, and my brother had a birthday the day they intubated me, and I just wanted to call him before I died to wish him a happy birthday. And he didn't understand a word I was saying because I was just coughing, but he understood what I was trying to say. And he didn't think I would survive either. No one did. So, and then they put me under, and they did actually try to wake me like a month later. I was awake for a week, but then it was just, I was just getting worse, so they had to put me under again. But that week I do remember being awake, but yeah, it was a horrible month at the hospital. It was so lonely, and I was so like crazy. I was just hallucinating, and I just didn't think anything was real, and I didn't see any loved ones because of this corona, and I didn't believe it because it was like a beer pandemic, and I was like, sure, of course my head would think of a beer pandemic, you know. And yeah. It was very, very lonely months.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what a journey. Like, you sharing this now into where you are today. I mean, first off, like, you not even recognizable to then, you know, I mean, seeing the pictures and seeing the transformation that you've made, you know, to be honest though, I've had a couple of people on the podcast, especially on YouTube, where they share how much they were drinking, and it's a lot. And some people are like, no, there's no way, you know, they were drinking that much. You know, seeing those pictures, it makes a whole lot of sense. Explain to somebody, though, who's maybe an outsider from all of this.
Yeah.
How do you let it get to this point? Like, what is going on inside of your head that you're willing to die to keep drinking? Like, you're willing to make that trade-off?
Well, at that point, I was too far gone, I thought. It was like this, I didn't know where to begin. I couldn't stop drinking. That was my, like, I would die rather than stop drinking, because it felt like it was so impossible. And it was just, I felt like, because I heard from everyone, doctors, psychologists, therapists, everyone was telling me that they had never, ever met anyone that drank as much as me. And they told me that I should be committed. But my doctor told me that they had to medicate me before I was sober, because I would die from withdrawal. But they wouldn't do that because we're very conservative here in Norway. And so I just felt like everyone kept telling me that I was such a unique case. They didn't know what to do with me, because they had never, ever experienced this, that someone drank as much as I did. And let alone, I didn't look like I was drunk or anything. I had 4.7 blood alcohol level, and I just talk like I do now. So no one knew what to do with me, and it just kind of sent me to other places. And I was a special case, which is why I have been so much in media for the last 4 years, because I want to kind of show if there's someone else out there like me that drinks a lot, that you're not alone, like I felt I was.
Yeah.
So,
And I think even if people aren't at that point yet, we look back at your story, and I look back at so many of them. A lot of us started the same. So like, you know, maybe if somebody's earlier in the process of this, now's the opportunity to get off the train, like get off the elevator.
Please
you
do.
know?
Like, it only gets worse, and all the years I wished I would get off earlier, and when it seemed more possible, when I wasn't too far gone as I thought I was.
Yeah.
I looked back at the years when I started, and I was just, why did you ever let this get this far? And I remember looking in the mirror, and I couldn't recognize even my eyes because they were just dead, and I couldn't recognize myself because I didn't look like I do now. And I was like, how on earth did you get here? Like, how could you do this to us? Like, I really, really,
Yeah.
really wished I would stop sooner. That was actually one of the first things my best friend told me when she and my brother and my mother was were the first people to visit me when they were allowed to. And even though I was bald, I was in a wheelchair, I was huge and had all these wires. She said the first thing she saw was my eyes. They were alive again. And she was just like, she bawled her eyes out when she saw me, when she saw my eyes, because I was there, I was finally there again. And yeah, but absolutely, when I think back, I had so many opportunities to, stop before it escalated as much as it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting too with that, because I do get a deep sense of gratitude just from our conversations over the years that it took what it took for you to maybe see things the way you do now and appreciate the life you have now. Like, I just think there's maybe this weird thing that we have to go through some shit in life to appreciate maybe the small things or have a different outlook on things, even though we don't really want to have to go through, all of the mud, but it can, it can maybe make us see things differently on the other side.
Absolutely. I always say that, like, my gratitude is my reward for the hell I've been through. I see things completely differently, and even though 6 years later, when I just get up from the toilet, I can just burst into a smile because my legs work. I can do this by myself, like without firemen or. It's the gratitude over just waking up and don't have to drink, and I can just walk across the floor, and I can go to a restaurant and order a soda. I'm grateful for everything, like, all day, and I really feel like that is our reward for our journey, for everything we've been through. Yeah, because I see life differently than my friends.
Yeah, that's so relatable. How do things, shape up for you after you leave, right? I know you had to do a lot of physical therapy, right? And learning how to walk and stuff. Was that part of it too?
Yes, I had a lot of physical therapy. I still do, actually, the same physical therapist. So she has been with me almost the entire way. She's actually been in the newspapers with me. But I had to learn how to walk. I had to lose like 100 kilos. I had to learn to live without alcohol. I had to actually think about my life because I was sure that I was going to die before I ever turned 30. So I was like, oh my God, I actually get to live. Like, what am I going to do? So absolutely, I had a long road ahead of me. But it was a very fun road because it was like, I couldn't get further down. So it's just going up, and it was very just fun to like be sober. I remember I've always loved Christmas, so I start to decorate for Christmas on my birthday for September 1st, because I missed a lot of Christmases, or a lot of joy. I remember my first Christmas sober. That was pure magic. Because we have these red days in Norway where, like, in Christmas and with the Easter and everything, the shops are closed for like 3 days, and where you can't buy alcohol. at all. So I had to get like thousands of kroner to buy alcohol, and it was just so freeing. Like I could just buy presents and be with my family and not worry about drinking, and it was just pure magic. That first Christmas and every Christmas since, of course, but it was just to wake up, and oh my God, I can just lay in bed. Like I don't have to open a beer, and I can actually eat because, contrary to what a lot of people thought, I didn't for many years because I drank so much. I was nauseous all the time. So now I could just eat food and drink water, and I love that road back to life. I really loved my journey since 2020. And in Norway, we are lucky enough to our skin removal surgeries. They are free as long as we have enough skin. So I have removed and put my abdominal muscles back together, and luckily it was free. So. And all the medication, luckily, are free as well because I was on a lot of medications after the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I get to use my experience, so that's the best thing of all. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how old were you when you quit drinking?
28. I turned 29 that September.
And now you're planning out, right? Like, what am I going to do with my life? And, sharing your story in the publications and in so many different ways, right? Now you're helping other people sort of explore this or supporting them, which full circle.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing. I wish I could go back in time, to 2019 me and show how we are today and tell her like what we're doing. And yeah, because she was so sad and lost, and I just wanted, if I had a time machine, I would definitely go back to show her. Because looking back at the pictures, it's hard to look at. I can feel what she felt, and I'm very, very proud of her to have gotten us here.
Yeah, wow, that's so powerful. I mean. Maybe that 2019 is still in there somewhere, watching.
Yeah, she is resting in my heart. She is having a well deserved rest. But she is with me in my work every day.
Does it surprise you at all how far you've come, or how far you have been able to, the work you've put in, the effort?
It does. I still do have a lot of motivation because when I knew that the world was real back in 2020, I was like, okay, this is my second chance. This is what I've been praying for so long and begged for. And now I had to grab it because I know how many people don't get a second chance. So I would do everything to earn it somehow. I want to earn my second chance, and I never take it for granted. I'm extremely grateful because I know how many people don't get one. So I will do a lot of good work. This is what I'm supposed to do with my life. I feel this was supposed to happen. Like now, it was a reason that I had to suffer as much as I did in my 20s because I wouldn't be here today, the person I am, without her. Mm.
Yeah, without going through it. There's a expression or quote that says, everyone gets two lives. And the first one starts when you're born, and the second one starts when you realize why.
Yeah. I love that quote.
And kind of what you're doing now, I think, is leaning into the why, helping others.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for connecting. As always, I wish we had about you might not, but I wish we had like 3 hours because I know that there's much more to this story. And, maybe that's another day mission for us. Before we sign off, though, for anybody out there who may be struggling or wanting to, get started on this journey, what would you mention to them?
I would definitely tell them to not listen to the voice in their head telling them that it's impossible to live without drugs or alcohol. I wish I had someone tell that to me, that this voice that I had, that it was lying. Because when I look back now, I cannot for the life of me understand what was going through my head when I was drinking. That made it so impossible to stop. I really wish that they don't listen to it. It is possible. I mean, it is very possible, and it is such a life, being sober, and it's all that. It's so worth it. And when you get to this side, you will look back and just wonder why it took so long. And the voice is lying. It's a very good life waiting for you. And I wish I had spoken to someone with experience when I was drinking.
Yeah. So true. I mean, it can be scary to get started, but a lot of people share that none of the scary monsters really come alive, that we're so worried about.
No, they don't.
So thank you again so much. Great to connect.
My pleasure.
Great to see what you're doing in Norway and really all over the world. So thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you. And thank you for the work that you do. I love to connect as well. So I want to be a guest again.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, there it is. Another incredible episode here on the podcast. Thank you as always for listening along. If you enjoyed the show, you love the show, drop a review wherever you listen or your thoughts below in the comments. What an incredible story of turning things around, now working with others to give back and help them find their way. I'll drop Mailinn's contact information for Instagram down in the show notes below. Be sure to send her over a huge thank you for sharing her story with us again, and I'll see you on the next one.